Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rewind, episode number 10 for Tuesday, November 26, 2024. My name is Marty Sleeve, and I'm joined by Darren Mooney, Jack Packard, Jesse Schwab, and producer Eric. We have a humdinger for y'all today. We rarely have humdingers on this show, but today we do because we got three new films to talk about that have taken over the cinematic landscape, including Gladiator II.
Yeah.
This is the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost of films, Gladiator II.
Yeah.
Wicked Part 1. And Hot Frosty on Netflix, which is I was gonna say the number one movie on Netflix, but when I checked last night, it was number 3. So I think it's falling off.
So Wicked is the hum.
Hot
Frosty's the dinger. What does that make Gladiator 2?
I'm feeling a little bit about it, if I'm being honest. Many of these movies might be feeling
Nice.
Yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to the recap. The rewind. The recap was the recap our old show.
Yes, the recap was our old
Yeah,
show.
the recap was the old one. This one's
traumatic kind of stress is kicked in. It's
God.
muscle memory.
Statute of limitations is fine. So yeah, we had those three movies to talk about. We've all seen Hot Frosty, I believe. 3 of us have seen Gladiator. 2 of us have seen Wicked. Yeah. I wanted to keep going down from like 1 of us have seen something, and 0 of us have seen the Bob Dylan movie, unless you've seen it, Darren.
No,
I really want to see this Bob Dylan movie. Did you know Bob Dylan had a crazy life? He met Johnny Cash.
I believe he went. Let me check the notes here. Electric.
Oh my God, Bob, you can't do it. Plug it back in.
You don't want any of this, Bob.
It's gonna be. Oh God, I hope it's just like Walk the Line or Walk Hard.
Walk Hard.
Yeah. Where do we start in this conversation? Which movie?
Well, which of us have 4 of us seen? It's Hot and Frosty, right? It's
I guess it makes sense to go in that order.
And I was going to say opposite. Like, obviously, Wicked is like the biggest movie in the world. It is like the movie that everyone is talking about. I have not seen the stage production. I have not heard any of the songs. I know nothing about Wicked. Except for that all of my theater nerd friends have been frothing over this damn movie since the first trailer. So
now I have not seen it, but I wrote up what I think it is about.
Okay.
In a single sentence, I wrote 2 magical friends that grew up together split apart due to a simple misunderstanding where one becomes good and the other evil, but with a heart of gold. Am I close?
The first half is correct. The second half is not.
Oh,
I would say.
Yeah, it's kind of the flip.
Yeah. We'll start with Wicked just because only Darren and I have seen it, and it's probably the one we will because of that have the least to talk about. First off, I want to get everyone's temperature on the Wizard of Oz because
the person or the movie, like no,
definitely not.
How do we feel about Mr. Oz? Like,
to be honest,
Dr. Oz, in fact. Yeah,
don't feel great about this Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
because I thought uniformly everyone just loves the Wizard of Oz. I thought that was a universal truth.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Darren, would it shock you to say, I know for a fact, someone on this show right now feels about the Wizard of Oz?
I love that now I've got to study faces and Jack's got the I'm a stinker face. That doesn't count. Damn it, Jack. You don't like the Wizard of Oz?
No.
But one of the things he does.
The Wizard of Oz is perfectly fine. That was my my feeling is the Wizard of Oz adequate. It is fine.
What age did you see it at?
I'm sure very young. I'm sure. Okay. And I've seen it several times. With the Wizard of Oz, like the second you go to grandma's house, all grandmas come with a copy of Wizard of Oz. Like, I'm sure I've seen it, if not at least 20 times. It is fine. It is a fine movie. It is nothing special. I knew nothing about it. I don't care. It's fine.
How do you feel about It's a Wonderful Life?
Oh, I think it's boring.
Okay, Grant.
I mean, personally, I couldn't get through Wizard of Oz. I turn it on, it's black and white. I can get past 10 minutes of it.
You used the same joke last night. You can't use it again. You're reheating jokes.
You're the only one that was.
Jack was also there, and several members of the audience were there.
That was a joke reserved for our Phoenix Tier movie night. And
well, now you get it.
Hey.
Did you watch it for Phoenix Tier? Did you watch the Wizard of Oz for Phoenix Tier? Okay, all right.
We watched The Last Dragon. Which,
okay,
I'm not sure how we got to the Wizard of Oz. I think via The Wiz we got there.
Yeah.
Darren, have you obviously Wicked? This is part one is an adaptation of the musical, which is an adaptation of the book that came out about what 25 years ago or so.
Yeah, 1995. So yeah,
1995.
nearly
Oh,
30
that's
years ago.
Jesus, how does time works? Yeesh.
Yeah.
Which tells the story of the Wicked Witch of the West in Wizard of Oz, and how maybe she's not as wicked as we thought, and maybe what's her backstory? What's going on here? Maybe there's a little witch racism going on in the land of Oz. Stretched over. This is gonna be stretched over 2 movies by director John Chu, who directed Crazy Rich Asians and In the Heights. So has
and the Step Up movies and Step Up 3D.
Hell
you gotta give props. Yeah, there we go.
So has his
now we
has
got
his
Jack
musical
back on board.
his musical Bona Fides movie absolutely crushing at the box office, including leading to the worst people in the world taking pictures of the screen during the movie and sharing them happily. Which I think we just lost that war. Like, right, that war is done and we lost because all of the distributors and all of the companies are like, yeah, that's great, free advertisement. Please continue to do that.
We'll retweet that. Like the thing is that like it was lost the moment that like last year instead of inviting critics to screenings of Barbie, they invited influencers. Because the idea is like, why would you invite critics to movies? That just runs the risk of them not liking it. Whereas on the other hand, if you invite a bunch of influencers, give them a bunch of stuff, they'll talk about the movie without like having an opinion or having context, or they'll just recite whatever talking points we give them into the camera. And I know I'm being unfair to influencers, but generally speaking, as an influencer, your job is not to have an opinion or to provide historical context for the work of art that you are processing. So from a film perspective, it's just like big screen, lots of stuff happened. Gift bag, great. Go see this movie.
I had a great time, regardless of what movie I saw. Yeah.
Darren,
Adam really changed the hierarchy of power.
Yeah, truly. You wrote about Wicked for one of your columns over the weekend, or I think yesterday morning. What did you think of Wicked? Just let people know.
Like I quite like the book. I read the book years ago. Don't remember much of it aside from the fact that there's more animal orgies in it than you would expect. And that's a single animal orgy.
It's over 0, which is more than
which is like you expect 0 and you get more. So that works if that works for you. The other thing, I'm a big fan of the musical as well. I've seen the musical several times. It's great. I think it's one of the better Broadway shows. I think the thing that works about doing the stage musical is that the production techniques that made The Wizard of Oz in 1939 so magical to everybody except Jack is that like they're practical and they're physical and they're tangible and they're tactile. So you're not trying to convince people that those are real monkeys. They're obviously people in monkey suits with wings on their back. There isn't actually an Emerald City in the distance. If they walk more than 5 feet past the end of the shot, they will hit a matte painting, you know? Like it is all practical, it's all built, but it's a celebration of like making movies. And doing that on stage is where you can get away with that today, because you can use many of the same techniques, and like that is the magic for me of like seeing Wicked on stage. Is it's as close as you'll get to a modern version of like the classic 1939 Wizard of Oz, which brings us to the movie itself, which is, I'm not a big fan of movie ratings, but to put it very simply, a 2-star adaptation of a 4-star musical with a 5-star first act, where it works for me to the extent that I know, do the maths.
I like it.
But it works to me to the extent that the source material is like legitimately brilliant, and the songs are great, and they're Broadway classics. And like we will get to talking about Gladiator II later on. We'll get to talking about like Hot Frosty later on. But like it is a cheat code to end your movie with Defying Gravity, one of the Broadwayest songs to ever Broadway, right? And I'm saying, I maybe didn't entirely love Gladiator II, but if at the end of that movie Paul Mescal and Denzel Washington sang Defying Gravity at one another, I'd maybe leave the cinema feeling happy and buoyant and pumping my fist in the air. So like this movie delivers on what it needs to, which is it gives you the musical numbers, it gives you the set pieces. I think Cynthia Erivo is phenomenal. She is a Broadway actor as well, but she's done really well in movies recently. She was very good in like Bad Times at the El Royale, for example. In Widows, she was phenomenal. She was quite good in Harriet, even if I didn't necessarily love that movie.
Did you see The Outsider, the Stephen King HBO adaptation?
No. Oh, is that the one with Ben Mendelsohn?
Yeah.
Oh, no, and Jason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been talking to Stephen King, have you?
What do we got going on here, boys?
Yeah. But so I haven't seen that. I need to see that. But and I think Ariana Grande, this is her first big role, her first lead role. I think she is, if not great, very charming, charismatic, and committed, which is what you need in that supporting role as Glinda the Good Witch.
I just can't get past Ariana Grande as a person licking donuts in a donut store. Like from years back, there was like a whole video of her, like her and her boyfriend or whatever, were like licking them, and they just put them back.
Was this during the Pete Davidson era?
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like just that feels like a Pete Davidson era story.
That was actually how COVID started.
That just kind of like ruined Ariana Grande for me. So I'm like, nah, I don't know about the donut liquor.
Good job, Eric. Eric's got it up there. Good job.
Wow.
But I love that he's got multiple angles of the same shot, just in case you think that we faked this photo of Ariana Grande licking donuts.
Yeah.
But like, I think she is very charming in the role. I think like she nails what she needs to, is which the version of Popular, which is like again another beloved Broadway. This is a musical beloved, as you said, by Broadway nerds, and it hits all the beats that it needs to. There are several problems. The first of which is the movie doesn't look great. It looks bad. And the thing is, like, you look at set photos and the set photos look great, but it has this kind of color grading on it. Everything is backlit. There's a choice to avoid like strong like editing, composition, lighting choices with this. It is the most straight down the middle version of a cinematic adaptation of the musical you could imagine. And it's like, that maybe works if you are just literally packaging the musical for consumption. But if you're going to do that, I'd rather you do something like the Hamilton movie on Disney Plus, which is just show me the musical. Like, edit the musical together and show it to me. If you're going to put it in cinemas, do something like, say, Bob Fosse's Cabaret or Spielberg's West Side Story, or hell, even earlier in the year. Yeah, Cats. That's obviously. I do feel like there, weren't enough buttholes in the movie. I feel like, there
was actually zero buttholes. I can confirm zero buttholes in this one.
Yeah. I do love the idea of the person whose job it was to take the buttholes out and just be like, I gotta watch it again and just keep an eye out just in
case. Butthole surfer.
Yeah, but like I sorry, go ahead there.
I was saying, and this is a two-parter, right? So it's like, even if this is good, like we're gonna get more, and if that's gonna be successful, this is gonna turn into like the next like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings,
Well, there are more books to adapt. The second book in the series is called Son of a Witch, which is maybe the best title in like the history of literature. But the thing is, the way that this ends, and this is a minor spoiler, so if you don't want to know how the first act of the musical ends, please like put your fingers in your ears for 5 seconds. But it ends right before The Wizard of Oz starts, which is why I think like this movie gets away with the being split in 2 parts. To give it credit, it doesn't feel as egregious a 2-parter as many of these movies do, because it ends and you go, oh. And that's when The Wizard of Oz happens. You can go home and just watch The Wizard of Oz and get like the beginning to end story if you want. I do think, to put it frankly, Wicked Part 2 is kind of fucked in the same way that like the second act of Wicked is kind of fucked, because like you go to the show, you see Defying Gravity, it's incredible, and you leave your seat and it's like 10 minutes, you got to get back into theater and watch the second half of the show. Here, you get up, you leave the theater, you go on with your life for about a year, and they say, hey, come back. That musical number you got a whole load of catharsis from. Like the biggest Broadway number in the history of Broadway. You need to come back and sit down for the other half of it. Because the second half of the play is The Wizard of Oz. Like, yeah.
But with like, maybe the bad guy isn't as bad as you thought. That kind of thing.
I hope you like that story about the woodsman.
I'd never read the book or seen the musical or the play or anything. But I after seeing the movie, I came home and I just read the Wikipedia synopsis of the second act, and I was like, this is going to be a whole movie next year. this is going to be the movie. Like, this is just it. This is how it's going to end. Seems very strange. Yeah, I agree with you. The seeing the behind the scenes photos made me feel insane for how many sets they built and how
contrast and make it barf on their TV, which happens in a lot of things to the detriment of the cinematography.
Yeah, well, Jack, I wanted to ask this as somebody who works in editing as well. I've heard like compression is an issue, because this is obviously like these movies are now obviously this is a theatrical movie, but a lot of stuff around like Netflix and the way that Netflix shows have a particular look that everybody's talked about and noted. Like talking to producers over here in Ireland anyway, when they shoot it, they say that the issue is they're shooting in a way that is designed for high compression because of the files that like Netflix use, but also the expectation that somebody might be watching it on their TV that's perfectly calibrated at home with a Wi-Fi fiber connection. They could also be watching it in the back of a bus in the middle of nowhere on their phone and expecting to be able to see what's going on as well.
Absolutely. And so the trick, the editing trick is to up everything to 11. So when it's compressed and when it's watched on a screen this big, it still retains some of that pop. The problem is when you watch it in the intended version on the big screen with a properly calibrated thing, it doesn't look good. Like, it looks Sharpness does not equal good. High contrast does not equal good, but it will eventually on some screens.
How long before like someone opens a movie theater where there's no screen, you come there and you just bring your own phone and everyone's just sitting in a big dark room just
Do they have headphones on is the question, because I've noticed on public transport and buses now, people just watch without headphones. It's very disconcerting.
Oh
yes.
I think
Honestly.
we're just we're just four old men yelling at
We're
the
behind,
cloud of
yeah.
change. That is
Like, we need to be
what
put out on a
wasn't-
piece of ice and sent out in the ocean, Marty. Sorry.
wasn't there a thing a few years ago where AMC was gonna allow like people talking and stuff during movies, and then they roll it back like after a month?
well, there's like specific screenings. Like in San Francisco, there'd be like an early.
It's a bit wicked.
It does seem kind of hilarious that we were just complaining about the fact that all this stuff is designed to be watched on your phone down the back of a bus, and that is where Eric is podcasting us from, apparently.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
No, but like this is something meant to be watched on your phone. In the if you
This is not cinema. There's no color grading here. All of our cameras look very strange. Like I look very red. I promise you, I'm not this red in real life. I look like I'm just like
angry.
I am this
fucking
pasty.
network screaming, "I'm mad as hell," and I'm not going to take it anymore. And I'm not.
Right.
I'm not mad as hell, and I will
Right.
take it even more.
If
It's
you
fine.
watch this in a cinema, that is a bold choice, and we appreciate that.
yeah. If this is on a theater screen,
Yeah, we were talking all the time a little bit. We were talking about to recap if you didn't hear the last few minutes, we were just talking about kind of like the way in which audiences are watching the movie and reacting to the movie, and whether or not talking is allowed and that sort of stuff. That does bring me to a bit of a topical thing that I saw floating around the internet, which is The Rock had a hot take on Wicked, which is The Rock thinks that it's okay for the audience to sing along with the songs because, according to The Rock, they paid their money and they should have a good time. My counter
For like Mamma Mia, they used to have like cocktail and karaoke screenings, which were great.
It's fine. Listen, if you have a screening where it says that,
It's
fucking-
Wicked is not Rocky Horror. It's two different
right.
What do you throw at the screen during Wicked?
flippers,
brooms.
chimera chimps. We'll get to honestly some good chimps in Gladiator as well. Let me tell you.
Oh,
I'm a big fan of the
Okay,
chimps that were in
what
Gladiator.
metrics are we measuring good by, to be fair?
Oh, I don't know. They're very scary, and I don't think they were realistic, but they were very spooky.
Okay.
So this movie made I think the actual
The metric
amount
term
was
is a fuck ton?
a fuck ton of money, and in what feels like a pretty light Oscar year, feels like this will get noms across the, including Best Picture, and
Ariana Grande is, I believe, technically the favorite for supporting at the moment.
Yeah. So, just might be one of those movies that normies love, which is fine. It's good.
Yeah.
I like seeing a lot of people. I drove by the movie theater, and when I went to the movie theater, between Gladiator and this, and then Moana's coming out this weekend. Speaking of The Rock, I bet he doesn't want anyone singing there in that movie. Listen, you shut your mouth during Moana when we sing.
Sat in the same chair that Christopher Nolan watched Oppenheimer in. I thought to myself, what if I sang during Moana in this chair?
Do you think anyone sang during Red One? Do you think anyone saw Red One? I didn't see Red.
My
Darren's
girlfriend saw Red One.
Yeah, Red One is it's left my brain.
Yeah, which is fine.
That's the kind of movie it looks like. But
yeah.
No, I think like that's the perfect, to me, like the reason why I have not given any thought to Wicked is because of all the things you're saying. This is a standard. There's nothing, there's nothing special about this. This is a fine adaptation of something that already exists in a better form. So what I will try to do is just try to see it live when it comes to town, because theoretically they'll do another circuit of it, and I will see the stage production because I'm sure that is the superior version.
But this is just boosting the sales of the ticket. The stage play has done remarkably well over the past year because the movie's coming, because the movie is an advertisement. Yeah. It's that thing of the album promoting the tour,
Yeah, and you said that's happened in the past too with stuff like Phantom of the Opera, the movie that came out 20 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, everybody remembers the Jared Butler Phantom of the Opera. Speaking of maybe some people in the movie shouldn't be singing either, to be fair.
I was a big fan of Andy Rossum, so don't you slander that movie. That's a lot to be
Joel
20 years.
Schumacher's Phantom of the Opera, an underrated masterpiece.
Oh, that was a Schumacher one? Oh my
That was
god.
a Schumacher one, yeah.
That was a Schumacher.
He originally wanted it to be a part of the phone booth cinematic universe, but they realized that would be a weird choice. Yeah.
Phone booth, underrated.
It was
Phone booth, great. Love phone booth.
Second best movie to take place on a phone booth.
What if they got out of the phone booth?
Phone booth
You know,
too.
I don't want to say think about it.
Yeah.
Think about it. You're not thinking about it, but
Think about it.
Phone book.
Couple super chats before we move on to the next movie.
Yeah.
Quintuple A, thank you so much for the $5 dono. Darren, is the Temple Bar a tourist trap? Good sources say yes. Also, due to extra space, Marty, Jack, and Jesse have a nice Thanksgiving. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
That's very sweet of you. Temple Bar, that's a famous, famous bar in Dublin.
No, it's not a bar. It's an area of town. So it's basically on the south side of the river.
You'd be able to call it a bar then. What are you doing?
It was meant to be a bus depot. It was originally meant to be like during the 1980s when the country was not doing so great. It was like, what if we have a giant bus depot in the center of our capital city? And they're like, no, what if we put a bunch of hotels and bars in there? Generally speaking, yes. I would. If you want to drink in Dublin, I would not drink in Temple Bar. It'll be very expensive.
Like every big city has like a touristy area. It's like Times Square or Fisherman's Wharf.
Yeah. And what I will say, if you are insisting on going to Temple Bar, the Elephant and Castle do the best chicken wings in Dublin. And you could probably find some good like restaurants in there. But what I would normally do is I would head out to Dame Street, even just one street over, and there is much more like actual Dublin.
Is that named after Dame Judi Dench?
Yes, we're very fond of the Brit. We feel like the British did not exert enough cultural impact. Over
No, she's fine though. She gets a pass. Judi Dench.
She gets a pass. She's literally played the Queen.
Well, she's fine. You don't gotta. That's how passes work.
I love, by the way, that like Marty's like, how dare you defame Dame Judi Dench by not naming a major street in your capital after her? What disgrace is this?
Is she the most famous Dame?
Interesting.
Like if you think of someone Dame
with a title.
With the title Dame.
Dame Edna.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
Okay, Australian listeners are very happy with that. Okay.
Oh,
That was a cultural reference.
Matt
Dame
Damon.
Helen Mirren. I want to shout out Snake in the Garden there, pointing out Dame Helen Mirren.
Matt Damon.
There we go.
Yeah, Matt Damon.
Damien Lindelof.
Oh my God! Can we talk about the leftovers?
There we go.
Don't provoke the comment section.
Oh no. Mopman with a $5 dono. Thank you so much, Mopman. Darren, random question on Blue Sky. You follow Dave Rapaccio, Draw Play Dave, American football cartoonist. Do you follow American football?
No, I probably don't even know that I follow this person. I randomly, like, when I get notifications, I'm like, does this person seem cool? And I follow them sometimes, and sometimes I miss them, which I feel really bad about, because I realized that like Jesse was following me, and I had not twigged that Jesse was I had not twigged Jesse was on Blue Sky, because I don't know who's on Blue Sky yet, and I felt really embarrassed that I was like, I should probably follow Jesse. So there is no rhyme or reason to my follows on Blue Sky aside from like I am trying to use the app a little more lately.
Yeah, sure.
I should follow Jesse because he holds a lot of power in my videos every other week. I really got to stay on his good side.
Really need to know what the pulse is on Jesse. It's like, do I need to ramp up my Baywatch Night references this week? Yes.
Better watch out, Marty. I have something.
Oh no, something cooking.
No.
Do you, Darren? What is your favorite American football movie?
Ooh,
Do you have a favorite?
Any Given Sunday is the obvious one because the speech in it.
Yeah.
Life is the 2 inches in front of your face. Trying to think, maybe I think Any Given Sunday is. Last Boy Scout, does that count? Because that opens with an American football match, right?
It opens. Yeah, I thought you were gonna say the Batman movie where they blow up the football. Bane blows up the football.
Dark Knight Rises.
I don't know if that counts. Like, I don't know if there's enough football. Like, at least in like The Last Boy Scout, the football game motivates the entire plot of the movie, and is like one of the defining visuals. Also, it just looks great with like, again, Tony Scott shooting in the rain. Speaking of things that were not meant for high compression, but it looks gorgeous.
There you go. Snake in the Garden with a €2 dono. Thank you so much, Snake. Please talk to Darren about the Phoenix tier movie, Last Dragon. Have you ever seen The Last Dragon, the 1985 Motown produced martial arts movie?
Bruce Leroy.
Oh,
yeah,
Bruce Leroy.
Bruce Leroy.
Yes.
Yeah.
a wonderful 80, like this is a movie I literally just saw last night with our Phoenix tier patrons. This is a movie that KC has talked about a lot, that for him was a childhood classic, and so the producers, the distributors said white people will not watch this. Beautiful, like this movie is a movie that if I would have seen it as a kid, I would have been a kung fu head for like 10 years afterwards. It's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not like it's not a Bruceploitation film, right? It's not
Okay.
like
So it's not American International, is it? Or?
Yeah, like it's not like like Black Samurai or Dolomite. Like it's more of like a
Yeah.
celebration of that, while still kind of evolving with martial arts from the 80s that used a lot more like special effects and music. Vanity's in it.
It was-
Vanity.
Yeah, produced by TriStar.
Oh, okay.
Well, 3 whole stars.
Three whole stars,
Also,
yeah.
It might
we
it might
went
be
out
my
again
new
during
things.
that
Okay.
during that answer.
Oh.
So it seems like we
no.
are back. Eric, I am requesting just no more B-roll the rest of the episode. We are focusing all of your energy of your internet just on getting us to this finish line. we're gonna put the goofs and the spoofs on the back burner. But we'll try. Yes. So, Snake, to answer your question, Darren has not seen it. We are, but we are selling him hard on it because we thoroughly
highly recommended. Very fun. This is like you would call it like a kids movie, but this is like this is like the Goonies level of like kids do something exciting. Teens do something exciting. Yeah.
It might be my
For The Last Dragon on Movies Anywhere, it's like, first of all, it's The Last Dragon, and then it's Raya and The Last Dragon. I bet Disney love that.
What's Movies Anywhere?
Movies Anywhere is like the international, like basically it's a movie locker where if you buy something on iTunes, it'll go to all of your services. So your Google Movie, that or more likely that if the thing is yanked, it will at least be somewhere for you.
Oh, apparently we have that in the States. I've just never heard of it.
No, it's an entirely American service, Marty.
I didn't know about Movies Anywhere.
This is how I hypothetically, if I were to suggest to Irish critics how to access movies that had been released digitally in America, Movies Anywhere would be hypothetically a great laundry service for that.
Oh,
there you go.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically.
Listen, we're not trying to get a fast one over on anyone.
Literally just trying to pay money to watch a movie, to be clear.
Sometimes watching a movie legally is an incredibly difficult thing to come by. Yes, I agree.
I want to give you
games where I'm like, I will pay you money if you let me. Otherwise, I will probably steal this if I have no other outcome. Of trying to play this thing. Yeah. Let me give you money, please. Yeah. Just a casual spectator with a $2 dono. Thank you so much. Thoughts on Shrinking season 2? I really enjoyed season 1. I have not seen season 2. This is the Apple Plus comedy drama starring Jason Segel and Harrison Ford. Yeah. Season 1 is delightful. I just need time to watch season 2. I'll probably watch it over the holidays.
Oh, there you go.
And Apple TV doing good work, as they tend to do.
Yeah, with shows that no one knows exist.
No one watches. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Apple way.
Do you guys know that there's like a Michael Fassbender, Richard Gere, Jeffrey Wright, Catherine Waterston spy show coming out like this Friday on Paramount Plus?
No, literally no.
There we go. Okay, yeah, it's called The Agency. It's fairly decent, but it's like, nobody knows that show exists.
Is that the one that's the
adaptation of The Bureau?
Yeah.
Oh,
French Bureau. Oh man.
Yeah.
Those Frenchies know how to make a cool spy show.
Blue.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally like, what if spies fucked? And it's like, okay, I can see why the French love this. It's like,
hell yeah.
Think about what if?
What if?
Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah, exactly. This guy.
Perhaps too much.
Stampy, Elephant of the Apocalypse with a $10 dono. Thank you so much. Darren, what's the Indian film that you said was like a Coen Brothers style Bollywood movie? Also, have any of you seen Avalon, the Mamoru Oshii directed Polish language film? Oh, I have seen Avalon. I own Avalon on DVD because I was like, holy shit, the Ghost in the Shell dude has a Polish live action movie.
Wow, is it any good?
No,
okay.
So I personally think it's bad, but I'm glad it exists.
The movie in question is And Hatun. I don't know where it's available. bet is to try Amazon Prime or Netflix. Those are the two places that have a lot of them. I believe it was on Netflix for a while. Andhadhun, so ANDHADUN. And it's basically like an organ transplant black dramedy with Bollywood musical numbers that is just like, it's just a delight to watch.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Apparently you can rent it on YouTube right now in the States.
Movies Anywhere. Think about it. Use it. Find it on Movies Anywhere.
No, it's not on Movies.
Shit, it's not. I thought Movies Anywhere. I thought everything's Movies Anywhere.
No, Movies Anywhere. You have to be part of a subscribing studio. So like Disney are part of it, TriStar's part of it, Warner's are part of it, Paramount aren't part of it, Lionsgate aren't part of it, etc.
They're part of Movies Everywhere. And then there's Movies All at Once.
Yeah.
Some movies somewhere.
Occasional movies. Thought takes with a $5 dono. People complain about Shadow of the Erd Tree getting Best Game, but not half a story getting a Best Picture nominee. That's interesting. So that's in the video game world, Darren, an expansion, a DLC where you need to own the original game and need to have progressed significantly into it in order to play this new thing, is being nominated for Game of the Year this year, even though that original game came out in 2022. So I guess that's almost a parallel. Although, like, Return of the King is technically, a part of a
third of a book, or if you consider them to be the same book. I mean, again, I do think people are complaining about it. Like if you go on Twitter, everybody's complaining about everything. But like if you go on social media, people are complaining about it being half a movie. To be fair, and they did complain about Dune Part 1 being half a movie as well. And I'm sure there are people who will complain about Dune Part 2 being half a movie when it is also nominated. I do think people do complain. I do think there is a broader point to be made about, like, first of all, the argument that accepting Wicked Part 1, the top 10 this year is all sequels, which is more just a broader statement of where we are as a culture. Also worth noting, I think it was 2021, which was the year of Avatar: The Way of Water, and Top Gun: Maverick, was the first time that there were 2 sequels nominated for Best Picture as well. Like, it is the direction culture is going, whether we like it or not. It's just unfortunately a reality, alas.
Listen, only a few weeks till Craven, so...
I've been watching the J.C. Shander movies and I feel very sad.
I saw
but it's got the Rhino in it.
It's got Rhino. Rhino was also in Margin Call. Did you notice Rhino in Margin Call?
You joke, but he is in A Most Violent Year. Like Alessandro Nivola. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm so bad. I'm sorry. But like he was obviously Nicolas Cage's brother in Face Off, among other things. But like he is in like The Most Violent Year, and it's kind of sad and funny to imagine J.C. Shander picking up the phone and going, "Hey, you remember that really great movie we made together that was like a Sidney Lumet movie at a time when Hollywood wasn't making Sidney Lumet movies?" Like, yeah. It's like, "Well, would you like to be in my next movie?" It's like, "What is it?" Don't ask any questions. Yes or no answer.
That sounds about right.
It's good to have friends. It's good to have friends.
Exactly.
Hey, you owe me one. Come and be in my movie.
Like Craven looks something more like Venom, which I enjoyed parts of. So if it gets to like Craven 2 and it's like Venom 2, I'm sold for that.
There's Jesse, there's a very important clause in your argument there, which is if it gets to Craven 2.
If it gets to Craven 2, I might like it.
It's like Craven 4 is gonna be golden, baby.
Russell Crowe couldn't be in Gladiator 2, but you know what? We got him in Craven.
That's Julie Andrews skipping out on the Mary Poppins sequel to go make Aquaman, which you kind of respect.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Big fan of Manta. Was that the man's name?
Black Manta.
Black Manta. Yeah.
Yeah. Bill Mateen's character.
Yeah, great. Okay, I'm gonna pause on the super chats. We'll get back to you, True Mando. Let's talk about Gladiator. Speaking of the titular Russell Crowe. Gladiator 2, also in theaters last weekend, also performed very well, not as well as Wicked, but performing admirably. This is obviously Ridley Scott's sequel, whatever we want to call it, to his 2000 Best Picture winner. Remake. I mean, for the first 85%, this is a remake, which is very strange. Set 16 years after the original. It's kind of tough to talk about without going into some spoilers, although I feel like the trailers.
Yes, I had a big thing on the radio where I was like, "What can I talk about? Can I mention the premise of the movie?" And it's like,
have you seen Gladiator?
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, then you know how you feel about Gladiator 2.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of what I was thinking about. It's like, all right, well, if you have to for a movie called Gladiator 2, all right, it has to be about a gladiator, which involves a gladiator and a coliseum. So what do? First answer, don't make it. Okay, so 2, if you have to make it, it's like, what do you even do?
Jesse, are you not familiar with the famous Nick Cave script? And that is that Nick Cave script for Gladiator II.
You can read it online. It is so good. It's just he goes to hell, becomes the god of war, fights his way out of hell, has to experience the Vietnam War and like all major conflicts throughout human history.
Doesn't it end with him working at the Pentagon, if I remember correctly?
Yes.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Yes.
That was the original take for a Gladiator 2.
It's like from like a producer mindset, it's like, haha, yeah, but seriously.
That to me, that is the movie that would have been made had we gotten a sequel right away. But now we are in safety zone. We are in comfort zone. People don't want extrapolation. People don't, because we know what the audiences want, even though of course they do not. Mm-hmm. They assume that the audiences don't want that kind of like bizarre extrapolation, and so nowadays in the era of safety, it's we'll just make it a Gladiator movie like the other Gladiator movie. Hey,
I rewatched Gladiator 1 honestly for the first time since theaters, right before seeing Gladiator 2, and I really like. I mean,
so you watched Gladiator 2 twice.
Gladiator, yes, that is why I felt insane watching Gladiator 2 and being like, are you just literally pulling a Michael Bay and reusing these shots of like a hand picking up the dirt and rubbing on his hands, or like the ramp going into the arena? I'm like, these are literally just shots. And also you just took the Maximus character and you just kind of like split him in half. And you're like, all right,
it's like half as used Pedro Pascal. And,
yeah.
Which makes it really weird, because like if you really like Gladiator 1, there is absolutely no reason to see Gladiator 2 unless you think Gladiator 2 is in fact better than Gladiator 1. So it's like
no
really
one thinks
weird.
that, right? You'd be insane to think
but I love the idea of somebody leaving Gladiator and being like, you know what the problem with that movie is? Too much Russell Crowe.
But that is exactly my point. It's like, why would you see Gladiator 2 when the first one exists?
I mean, the one thing that the first one doesn't have is Denzel just going fucking nuts.
Denzel's great.
Like Denzel is incredible.
It's the best part of the movie. Like he's a lock for a supporting actor nomination as well, and deserve it. Like his part of the movie works because his part of the movie is not Gladiator. Like it's not his part of the movie is the bit where they're not remaking the movie that you've already seen and not asking Paul Mescal to basically repeat a once in a lifetime performance that at the time felt like a miracle out of history. Whereas like the Denzel thing is Denzel is doing his business and it's just incredible to watch. And it's like more of this. Why can't this be his movie? What? As an Irishman, I'm obliged to say I like Paul Mescal. He's a lovely lad. He's done some really great movies. He's a wonderful actor. But it's like every time we cut back to him, I'm thinking he's really not Russell Crowe. Nobody but Russell Crowe is Russell Crowe. Mm-hmm. Why aren't we hanging out with Denzel? Like,
I will say at the very least, obviously, he's no Russell Crowe. Crowe's great. But I do feel like Mescal did put a little more effort than I feel like a lot of these films would probably put in by giving like, I don't know, like Henry Cavill in Immortals, or like Sam Worthington in, was it Clash of the Titans he was in, or like Terminator.
I mean, Paul Mescal's like, I don't want to say those two aren't real actors, but like Paul Mescal's like a real actor. I think that's the difference.
I was thinking, I had this conversation with somebody, and the question is like, Mescal doesn't really work because Mescal is like a soft boy. He's very internalized. He's got like a rich inner life, and like that's great and all. I love an actor with a good inner life, but when you're hacking at like baboons, I want you to have an outer life as well. I want you to like be an actor who is physically present. And I was trying to think like who of the modern generation of young boy actors, the soft boys, who could do that? Like Pattinson is probably a bit old at this point. Chalamet, I don't think could. Holland, I don't think could. Butler maybe could.
Austin
Butler's, yes, maybe, and that's just because he had the audition piece in Dune, I suppose. But like, I think Butler could do it. Like, but I couldn't come up with any. Can you imagine putting Chalamet in that arena, or putting Holland in that arena with those baboons?
How about Glenn Powell? Can Glenn Powell do that?
Oh,
Glenn Powell could do anything.
I feel like Glenn Powell would have to like take out sunglasses after killing the baboons, and I realize that this is a movie that features two scenes of a character reading a newspaper 2,000 years before the printed press comes into existence. But I feel like Glenn Powell taking out sunglasses is probably just a little too anachronistic.
Now I want to see Tom Holland eat a baboon, because that visual is great.
Yeah. Well, Chalamet was, I think Ridley Scott said Chalamet was who the part was written for, and then he saw normal people.
Okay.
The
It's great to imagine like 81-year-old Ridley Scott at that point just sitting down to watch normal people.
yeah. Oh, these two are real horny. What's going on here?
Ridley Scott has opinions on Ga.
Yeah, it's the movie's not bad. It's one of those movies where like, yeah, it relies a little bit too much on CG. The movie oscillates between certain elements look really good, and then certain elements are like, oh, I don't know. Do we need to have it look like this?
Did you like the opening when it said Gladiator, then turned to Glad-tuator?
I did. Yeah.
I did.
Whole star in my star rating for that.
I'm easy to please, and if you somehow slip a number in a title without me realizing it, well done. Yeah.
And look, I will also say another moment that I loved is when they wheeled out like 86-year-old Derek Jacobi, great institution of British television, and made sure to show you what happened to him in graphic detail during the climactic scene.
Yeah.
Like, which is just like, I feel like even doing that to 86-year-old Derek Jacobi is like dangerous, but showing me doing it and covering him in fake blood is also like,
yeah. It's like elder abuse along the lines of what Kubrick did to Scatman Crothers on the set of The Shining. It's like, do we need 70 takes of me killing this old man with an axe?
Yeah.
It also felt like everyone in this movie was in a different movie. It felt like Paul Mescal was acting in a different movie than Pedro Pascal, who was acting in a different movie than Denzel, who was definitely acting in a different movie than those two twin emperors with syphilis. Yeah, I like them. Yeah, so the Emperor in this one, instead of being
one guy,
Phoenix, it's just two dudes who both are pasty little boys with syphilis, and it's great. One of them's got a monkey named Donda.
Because it's
who becomes the first citizen.
Because it's Gladiator II. There are two kings. There's two founders of Rome. Fucking.
As you mentioned, the splitting of the role.
Pascal had two dogs. There's two Colosseums.
Oh,
yeah.
I always think of people just having dogs back then as weird. Like you just had dogs, like just for fun. You just had a couple dogs.
Marty, there's a shark battle inside the Colosseum in this movie.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you just pump a bunch of water into it. How did they get all that water in there?
How did they get the sharks in there?
Aqueducts.
How did they get the sharks out?
Yeah,
I mean, but it is transparently Ridley Scott is just like, hey, you guys remember Jaws? Like, it is very transparently, this is modern America. There are like homeless encampments and graffiti and newspapers and like riots and things like that. It's like, I love that Ridley Scott is just like, there is no subtext. Like, there is no like, this isn't Rome. This is just America, but we wear togas now. That is what this movie is.
Beautiful.
And I do like how every time someone talks about the historical accuracy or inaccuracy in his movies, his response is pretty much like, fuck you, I made Blade Runner. Which is like, honestly, I'm like, yeah. Like, I'm not going to Gladiator to like learn about fucking history.
Have you listened to any Ridley's, again, because he's 83 years old, he's got no fucks to give, and he, to his credit, is like making one or two movies every year. They may not be great movies, but he's making them. It kind of like Clint Eastwood energy. But if you listen to his commentaries, they're incredible because that is a man who is not plagued by the burden of self-doubt. It's the man who's always like, and this was a great idea that I had here, and some people said that it didn't make any sense in terms of plot, and I would say they should shut the fuck up, is what I would say.
I appreciate that.
He's a literal legend. He made legend.
Yeah. Alien and Blade Runner back-to-back second and third film. Like, incredible.
Yeah. Honestly, I just viewed it like the whole flooding the Coliseum thing. I was just like pretending it was a Pokemon Coliseum. And I'm like, fucking do whatever you want with it. Like, turn it into whatever biome you want. It doesn't matter. Like, have them fight in a little jungle in the middle. That'd be cool.
Oh, they have a rhino in this one. We're gonna get rhino and Craven. It's a good year for rhnos, personally.
Yeah. Wow, big year for rhinos. Yeah,
big year for
almost
rhinos.
as big as it is for penguins. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing could beat this year for penguins.
2024 is the year of the zoo animals, and I think that's great.
Yeah. And we don't even have a Zootopia yet. It's coming, though. Don't you worry.
And they don't call it Zootopia.
Yet. You just wait until that opening title card. You see
Zootopia. That's it.
It's going to blow your mind where they fit that two in. Let me tell you. Yeah, it's a weird movie. I just don't have a ton to say about it other than I would just recommend watching Gladiator 1. I didn't have a bad time. I enjoyed my 2.5 hours in the theater. I had popcorn.
Yeah, like I liked it more than like others did, just because it's you still get that Ridley Scott stamp of approval for better or worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, even if it retreads a lot of the same steps, even though I'd rather watch Gladiator 1, it's like, well, it's the same meal I like, just it's not prepared the same, but it's still serviceable for me.
Oh, okay. So this is like the Burger King Whopper versus the Quarter Pounder, is what you're saying. Not, like in the same universe, but just not as good.
Yeah, maybe they just have like a different chef, or like they changed the ingredients for it or something. This is like, something's different about it. It's not the same, but whatever. I'll still eat it.
When there's a handful of these directors who clearly have a finite number of movies left because they are old, and I'm just like happy we get these from them.
Yeah,
and some of them are still like Scorsese is still kind of hitting almost with perfect accuracy. But anytime we get a Spielberg, anytime we get a Michael Mann movie, anytime we get a Ridley Scott, I'm just thankful they exist.
Yeah, and I mean the thing about Scott is he works. He is like that shark in the Coliseum. He just keeps turning. Like he's. I think the greatest legacy of Gladiator II is probably going to be the movie he makes with Paul Mescal after this one.
Sure.
Like that's probably like
Gladiator 3 is what he's currently writing, so I'm a little worried about that.
I think they're doing a science fiction. They are doing a science fiction movie together. Like it's like him clicking with
Gladiator is a sci-fi setting.
Yeah, see you later, Gladiator.
Oh, that would be. I can get down with this movie. A couple more super chats before we move on to the real topic that matters.
Oh, I'm so fucking ready.
Drew Mando, thank you so much for 10 months in the tip jar. And then with a $5 super chat for Eric's internet, which, by the way, has been great. I just want to say, Eric, your internet for the past 20 minutes, knock on wood, has been wonderful. I think the best.
Eric has been rubbing his router for the last 20 minutes. He's
like, I'm picturing a movie where someone's holding. Oh no, I'm picturing Wolverine and fucking Deadpool. Never mind. I'm not picturing that. I was gonna say he's like holding the internet.
Now everybody's picturing. How's everybody? Is it like while like a prayer plays in the background? Is it?
I was like, what movie is that? Oh, gosh, shit. I don't want to talk about that movie again. True Mando 4, Eric's internet, and for the pleasure of hearing Darren rant about the abomination that is Rise of Skywalker again. Can't wait for AVP Requiem on the 250.
Yes, that is this weekend.
To be clear, you are also talking about the bottom 250. This is not one of the top 250.
It's sandwiched right there between All About Eve and Gladiator, and we think that that's the right place for it to be. No, we're doing the Alien and Predator franchise. We decided, for Halloween, we do a movie franchise, and last year I got to pick Halloween. And this year, Andrew was like, we're not doing that again. We're doing a good franchise. And a good franchise is Alien and Predators. Where, Requiem is bad, but Requiem is the worst of it. As opposed to Halloween, where there are 3 Alien Requiems, maybe 6, depending on how you get.
If you need a horror movie franchise next year, I think Jack's got one for you.
Puppet Master, baby. Oh, if you got a different, not Puppet Master, you got a different one.
No, it's Puppet Master.
No, it's Puppet Master. Yeah,
it's Puppet Master.
I think I'm trying to pitch him on Leprechaun for St. Patrick's Day, but I don't think that's going well.
That's so beautiful.
We have to do it all in twee Irish accents.
Pure Pyro with a €2 dono. Thank you so much. Any thoughts on All Quiet on the Western Front?
This is the burger film, the recent one from
the Burger King film, correct, from a few years ago, by Ed Berger, who directed Conclave this year.
Yes,
most recently,
and also did the first season of Terror as well, I believe. Very talented director.
Yeah, and is supposedly possibly doing the new Oceans movie. Have you heard about that?
Okay, well, no, but that's much better than that sentence should have ended.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say he's doing the new Chameleon Spider-Man shared universe movie.
No, the Ocean's not the one that takes place in the 60s with Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, but supposedly the one with bringing the gang back together.
We're finally getting Oceans 2.
Finally getting Oceans 2, because God knows they're not doing Wolves 2.
I do love John Waite just on principle not doing Wolves 2, and I love him clearing the air and being like, just so we were clear, they didn't fire me. I quit.
Yeah, that's that Spider-Man "fuck you, buddy," which I like. Yeah. Any thoughts on All Quiet on the West Front? I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think it's a very well-made movie. I didn't think it was one of the best movies of that year. I thought it was a nice nomination. It certainly wasn't the worst of the Best Picture nominees that year. I think Conclave is much better. I had a much better time with Conclave, I have to say. But yeah, Berger, generally a really cool director. If you haven't seen The Terror, or the first season of The Terror at least, check that out. It's a wonderful season of television.
Yeah.
This is
that makes me never want to get on a boat or go anywhere with ice.
Oh, like I watch again because I've been watching J.C. Chandor movies. I watched All Is Lost, and I was like, never have I felt more validated in my decision never to go out in the ocean alone.
Yeah. It seems terrible out there. Like no one's ever been like, I went on the ocean on a voyage and it was great.
It just went perfectly. A movie where like it's just Robert Redford like writing letters to people he cares about, listening to like jazz rock or what's it? Yacht rock, I think they call it. Yacht rock. Yeah.
You think you're safe in the water, and then you go in the Coliseum, and sharks just follow
There's
you.
goddamn sharks everywhere.
Do we think that Robert Redford from All Is Lost could have taken the sharks from Gladiator II? There's a question.
Maybe.
He couldn't have taken those baboons because those baboons were fucking nuts. Those baboons were wild.
They were so shaved.
But I do like the fact that once like the main action of the fight is over, all the baboons just chill out. I'm like, how do they know to chill out? They're still crazy baboons.
They're well trained. They know not to overplay the beat.
I think Paul Mescal killed his baboon. The rest of them should still be going wild.
He ate a baboon. You don't fuck with that.
Yeah. I guess maybe it was that, like, oh, he's like an alpha male.
You're like, oh shit. He's,
but then they should have followed him back into like the pit and been like, well, we're yours now. Like, you tamed us.
At the climax of the movie, when like Connie Nielsen is tied to the pillar, out of nowhere, like Endgame style, 3 baboons swing down into the Coliseum.
Each other kick an arrow for
throwing barrels.
Ridley Scott, we have some notes for you. Please don't swear at us when you don't like them.
We have some notes for Glad 3-8er. Yeah,
the viewers cut.
I like it. Nick Warden with a $5 dono. No message, but thank you so much, Nick. And Fungus Finder with a $2 dono. Sharkaseum. Are we sure that this film wasn't a mistake? Or are we sure film wasn't a mistake? Sorry, the entire medium.
One mediocre film does not break an entire medium.
No. Also, because the next movie you see might renew your faith in the medium, which it did for us. Hot Frosty.
Hot Frosty.
Yeah.
Do you want to fuck a snowman?
Yes.
Who's this guy? This guy's pretty good looking. Granted, he has the brain of a literal newborn child.
Yeah, so. Like a really unhydrated snowman.
Yeah.
Did the sculptor also sculpt his like junk? Or
yeah, he had everything. Yeah, if you watch it, I turned my TV lengthwise. Yeah, you can see everything.
Nice.
Turned my TV lengthwise. Is that even
vertical video? They have to call it super vertical video. Yeah. The scarf is like this. Not that I was paying attention, but the scarf is very clearly like patched to a certain area of his anatomy. To be fair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The penis area is what you're.
Well, it's a good thing she chose a big buff snow statue, not like a traditional.
No, man. Could you imagine if he's just a human with several blobs on top of each other? Kill me.
I think
melted.
That could be a really funny, like almost like a Shallow Hal-esque like movie where like a normal it turns into Patton Oswalt comes out. No offense to Patton Oswalt, but a little snowman shaped.
I think you're describing the plot of Young Adult, but yes.
Pretty much actually.
Fair. That's fair.
Jack, as a connoisseur of movies like Hot Frosty, what did you think of Hot Frosty?
Okay, so I unironically love rom-coms. I love these kind of formula. These are the wrestling pictures of the romance world. I love them. I think they are. All the beats that are going to happen, and so it's comfort food for me. I love schlocky Christmas movies. I love that kind of like this is heartwarming, and we're not going to mask our heartwarming in irony. Guess what? We're just here for good feels and romance. That being said, this is weird. This is a weird movie in which the lead actors of our romantic movie have absolutely no chemistry, partly because the titular Hot Frosty is playing up the whole I was born yesterday, and so he has the mind of a literal child.
Yeah.
And so never once was I like, man, I hope she fucks that dude with the mind of a child.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen Twin Peaks: The Return? It has very similar energy there with the Dougie Jones plotline with like Kyle MacLachlan and Naomi Watts. Like very similar dynamic.
Yeah, it is a little like like I mentioned our Slack earlier, when I was writing notes for this, I just felt like a whole rabbit hole of like, I don't understand this because I'm thinking too literally about like, oh, well, if he's just kind of born yesterday, but he can like walk and speak English and knows certain social cues, but not other ones. What's going on with this? I don't understand.
Right, yeah, and there's a lot of that. I see someone in the chat just said poor things too, but like, whereas poor things is this wonderful like exploration of that dynamic. This is just like, nope, the whole town's cool with you fucking that snowman.
To be clear, the whole town is cool. Like, there's a major plot point where everybody realizes he's a snowman come to life, and nobody has any questions.
And no one's like, except Craig Robbins is like, I think we have to kill him.
even like the doctor.
But I'm kind of on Craig Robinson's side here. It's like, this changes our entire understanding of the universe. We should at least be asking questions. Like,
like even the doctor, like the theoretically most scientific of the people are like, oh yeah, that's a snowman. Yeah.
It's a snowman. Like. That's the thing. Okay, so the premise of the movie is hold on, I'm gonna forget actors' names, so I got to pull up the IMDb.
Lacey Chabert is the lead.
Yeah. One of the titular party of fives.
What titular
Mean
party
Girl,
of fives,
which they reference in the movie as well when Lindsay Lohan makes a crossover. This is
canonically a sequel to Mean Girls, by the way,
and Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because both Boyle and Craig.
Yeah. Yes, you probably most people probably know Lacey Chabert as the Hot Pocket, the daughter of the Hot Pockets guy from Mean Girls. Mm-hmm. But she is a widow. She is a widower who's like kind of done with love and in a bad place, and she places a scarf on a super hunky looking snow sculpture who then comes to life as Dustin Milligan, who probably most people know from Schitt's Creek. He was the sexy veterinarian from Schitt's Creek. Wonderful performance in Schitt's Creek, by the way.
Yeah,
a very funny individual.
Yeah.
So Dustin Milligan comes to life and is immediately in love with Lacey because Lacey put a scarf on him and made him come to life. And now she needs to figure out what to do with the sexy childlike snowman because Craig Robinson is also trying to arrest him for streaking and breaking a window.
Yeah.
Lacey Chabert was also in The Wild Thornberrys and Beverly Hills Chihuahua 3, Viva La Fiesta.
And Lost in Space, and I believe she was the first Megan Family Guy.
Yeah, I think so.
For a couple of episodes before there was, I believe there was a conflict there.
She didn't
really vibe with the. She was
the Stuart Townsend of Family Guy.
She was also she voiced Princess Elise in Sonic 06, which means she's been part of two mythical creature romance, which made me think, wait, is a snowman a mythical creature?
Oh, a snowman come to life is 100% a mythical creature, like Frosty the Snowman.
Cryptid, right?
Yeah. Is a mythical creature.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. So she fucked Sonic and a snowman is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Not at the same time, though. Okay.
It's fine. It's fine. This so I'm curious, like these Hallmark Christmas movies are fucking tossed out. They're just like sprayed with a fire hose every November, and they're all over. They used to be we used to have a containment unit on the Hallmark channel, and now things have gone insane. Eric, you put a filter on. God damn it, we told you not to tempt the gods.
If the internet crashes,
I swear to God, Eric, if the internet goes down, because of this,
but this isn't a Hallmark movie. This is a Netflix movie. Like
that's the thing, is that they've escaped containment and they're now everywhere, including Netflix. And a thing like this becomes so popular that it just rises to the top of the Netflix charts and becomes a thing that everyone is talking about because everyone sees it as soon as you turn on Netflix.
Yeah. Well, and of course, like they are now they're playing like that. It's the arms race of like we understand that these movies are, they are bad, they are fire hosed out, and so all we need is a weird enough premise and poster. And so do you want to fuck a snowman is literally like the pitch for this. So everyone watches it to do what we're doing, which is like, oh, we're going to have a laugh about it. It's bad. The premise of this movie is so silly that you almost want. I wanted to watch it because of the premise. This is literally what they've movie companies have been doing for ages, of like putting the sexy people on the cover of the box in a video store.
And I will say one other role, which is actually kind of tangential to this, like Kathy, the lady, Kathy is
Lacey?
the name of the character in the movie, is that she also voiced Supergirl in the Harley Quinn show, specifically in the episode "Getting Ice Stick, Don't Wait Up."
Whoa.
So
Yeah.
she
This
was
is-
prepping herself.
This is like the weird Naomi Watts and a kid thing, where once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. Where whenever Naomi Watts is in a movie with a child, there is a weird dynamic at play there. So in Ring, for example, her and the child, weird dynamic at play there. The Impossible with Tom Holland, weird dynamic at play there. We mentioned Twin Peaks with the adult with the mind of a child, weird dynamic at play there. Have you seen Book of Henry? Weird dynamic at play there. Yeah, like there's a certain energy that when you start to notice it with certain movie 43. Has everybody here seen movie 43? Again, weird dynamic at play there. It's like
her and Kong. Weird dynamic with her and Kong.
Yeah. Mind of a child.
Another mythical creature.
Yeah. But like I want to ask, to build off Marty's point, and I guess this is a kind of question for Jack, is that like there was a big thing that went around Twitter about the idea that there have been no canonical Christmas movies since 2003 with like Elf and Love Actually. I would maybe push that out a bit. I'd say that devalues the extent to which normies, and I want to be clear, normies, not Darren, like the Bob Zemeckis Polar Express movie, because that thing is always fucking on, but that is still like 2004.
Love that movie. I think if you were a kid around then, like you fucking love that Polar Express movie. I think
the broad point still stands, which is around about 2004, 2005, we stopped making canonical Christmas movies. And we have tried. There have been movies like Violent Night, for example. We've covered Krampus on here, Office Christmas Party, The Night Before, etc. But like, but I do wonder if part of the combination of things like, say, pushing the Santa Claus franchise starring Tim Allen onto streaming, and things like the emergence of these Hallmark movies have meant that studios are no longer really trying to do the big Christmas release, where even something like Red One.
Not Red One. Oh, you are
too slow.
But Red One is an Amazon Prime movie that just gets a token theatrical release for the purposes of satisfying The Rock's ego. That is designed to be on Amazon Prime for Christmas so that it will encourage you to shop on Amazon Prime at Christmas. And I do wonder if like this is the reason why, because as you said, they have escaped containment, where why the fuck would Warner Brothers want to make a Christmas movie when, as you said, Netflix, Hallmark, like Amazon are going to shit these things out? And they're not going to be any good, because they don't have to be any good, because it's no longer the barrier of convincing somebody to pay $10 to go and see it in a theater. It's just like, you're sitting on the couch, you've already got the remote, you're not going to watch the movie where Lacey Chabert fucks a snowman.
And they show it.
They
show it in graphic detail.
Yeah, no, that was the most shocking part, is 10 solid minutes. And it's like not like
yes, that is a carrot on my face, and yes, I am happy to see you.
Like it's not even like edited like a pornography. It is just single camera, them absolutely fucking.
Is there a blowing window, like a little
no, it is
curtain.
So first of all, Dustin Milligan, great stamina.
Yeah.
But like this is the thing. I would argue that as far as like canonical Christmas, obviously we're a bunch of old people here, and so Jesse not included. I think Jesse might be the youngest of us. But
probably.
For us, there's no new canonical Christmas movies. Fair. I see in chat, and Eric is saying Netflix's Claus, which is a wonderful animated Santa Christmas movie.
Yeah. I thought that was nice.
Absolutely wonderful. Definitely hasn't stuck in the zeitgeist. I have heard almost no mention of it after the year it came out. I would say, what was the? And I can't even Google this because I can't even remember the actress's name. The one from Pitch Perfect who was in
Noelle.
Who was like
Anna Kendrick.
Yeah, Noelle.
Yes, Noelle.
With her and Bill Hader.
Oh, with her and Bill Hader.
Yeah. I would put Noelle. I know I have seen that a few times after its initial release. Like my kids will say, "Oh yeah, the one with the the funny Christmas movie," with Noelle. So I think there are a few that will pop up here and there as far as modern Christmas classics. But this was, I guess, more to my point, is this is the arms race of we are going for shock value just to get you to click play rather than just making a good holiday movie.
And when you think like Darren mentioned, but this isn't just like some people in the chat were like, it's just the movie boomers grew up with. So, It's Wonderful Life and that kind of stuff, the original Miracle on 34th Street. But I don't think that's
Story,
true
all that sort of
because,
stuff, yeah.
Christmas Story. But if you look at like 1990 to, like you said, the early to mid aughts, you had, the two Home Alones, you had Miracle on 34th Street remake, you had Jingle All the Way, you had the Santa Claus, you had Nightmare Before Christmas, Elf, Bad Santa, like Muppet Christmas Carol, like some movies that are like
Christmas.
I still watch all the time that I really like.
The Santa Claus trilogy, yeah.
Santa Claus trilogy, the
Absolutely.
trilogy, some people call it. But
right
then
up there with The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is the best cinema in the history of television. It's 3 colors and the Santa Claus.
But yeah, then you hit that point where it felt like you got into the like that Hallmark era where it almost became like ironic Christmas movies or like tongue in cheek, like we don't need to put any effort because
easy to pump
you guys
out.
easy to pump out, shoot them in July, they're done by November. I don't know.
It's the difference between, and I hate that I sound like a snob making this argument. It's like degrees of trash, but it is the difference between something like, say, the Amy Adams, Matthew Good vehicle Leap Year, right, which is the Irish set rom-com, and the Lindsay Lohan Irish Wish, which is the streaming Lindsay Lohan Irish rom-com, and they're both not great movies, to be clear about them, but like there is at least like Leap Year feels more like a movie that actually exists as opposed to Irish Wish feeling like a meme that exists on the internet for 2 years that nobody has thought about in the past like 2 or 3 months, you know?
It's less Christmas movie and more advertisement for Toronto.
Love my Toronto movies.
It's less Christmas movie, more advertisement for the streaming service, which is just like as someone who doesn't mind being a content creator, I don't think content is a derogatory term. When people use content as a derogatory term, they are thinking of Hot Frosty or movies of that ilk. They are thinking of the churn, just pumping out this kind of easy trash. And I don't feel bad calling it trash because there does seem to be an element in which the filmmakers don't necessarily care.
The movie is called Hot Frosty, and the guy's name is not even Frosty.
Think about it. Like, come on.
It's Jack.
I mean, he is pretty hot, though. Like,
It's pretty hot.
It's
One out of
Jack
2
percent
ain't
of the way there, yeah.
It's Jack the Himbo Snowman.
Yeah.
I was looking up. I saw the writer of this movie. I don't remember their name, but they were on Twitter. They have like a decent Twitter following, and they reposted like 3 years ago. They just tweeted out, "Y'all, I got this idea for a Christmas movie," and he's like, "This is what I was talking about." That writer has 3 Christmas movies coming out in the next month. So like it is like it's just like a cottage industry, I guess, of like fucking I can just jam these, and now it kind of just makes me want to be like, well, put up or shut up. I should just fucking write a Christmas movie.
we should write a Christmas movie. Like Hallmark, please hire us to write a Christmas movie.
Could have come up with a movie about Hot Frosty.
Special.
But like I'm looking at my like Netflix like press box at the moment, and it has a Lindsay Lohan Christmas movie in there already. Like it's like they're not even like Hot Frosty is barely melted, and they're like, would you like the Kristen Chenoweth Lindsay Lohan Christmas movie?
Is that the movie she's watching in this movie? So does this movie have an advertisement for a movie that isn't out yet?
I think it's a different one. The one that she's watching is the one where Lindsay Lohan gets amnesia, if I remember correctly, because Lohan is part of the Netflix industrial complex. But it is, again, designed to draw your attention to other movies like it on Netflix. I've noticed that quite a bit. There are quite a few of these where actors are watching other movies available on the streaming service on television and drawing attention to it. It's a joke. It's a funny enough joke. I went to school with her, but it's clearly meant to get the audience going, oh, wait, what is that Lindsay Lohan bit? Like, it's like, should I be watching this? And then, of course, at the end of the movie, what gets recommended to you? Boom. Because the idea is to keep you in the app,
No, which, by the way, this has been happening in B movies forever. If anyone has ever watched a bad movie, usually if something is on the TV, it was the director's last film.
Sure.
Like
Halloween.
Halloween. If you've ever seen the wonderful Demonic Toys, they are watching Puppet Master 2 in Demonic Toys. That's fresh in my mind.
Understandably. Yeah.
Yeah. It's either that or it's was it Night of the Living Dead because George Romero forgot to copyright that.
That's right. That's right.
Easy movie for them to watch.
Yeah.
I did find funny that a movie called Hot Frosty, you have Joe Lo Truglio, who's from Wet Hot American Summer, and Craig Robinson, who's from Hot Tub Time Machine. There's a lot of hot people in this.
Yeah.
There are. I will say I actually did like Robinson in this. And I thought Robinson was very, very good in this.
I thought both of them were actually pretty funny. And I just finished a Brooklyn Nine-Nine rewatch, and so they were fresh in my mind. And I thought their scenes were very funny.
And very obvious that Craig Robinson was only on set with Lacey Chabert for like a day and a half.
Sure. Like I did enjoy his like opening scene where he's just like playing the keyboard and like singing. I'm like, oh, this is great.
Well, the outtakes at the end, they do. To be fair, they play the outtakes over the credit, and that scene just goes on, and it's like all of this should be in the movie. There is no qualitative difference between this and what ended up in the movie. Sorry, Jack.
No. Well, I guess like to me, like Craig Robinson and Joe Lo Truglio were, I said that right.
Joe Lo Truglio.
They were trying, and even Craig Robinson, like who is a pianist and does kind of like musical comedy sometimes, is just like, this script has nothing. Can I bring my keyboard to do something? I play the sheriff of this town. I guess I will write songs about the town just to give my character literally anything, because I'm sure in the script there was nothing. Which, like, sure, they're fine. I would argue that there is nothing funny about this movie, even though it is filled with genuinely talented, funny people. And that, I believe, is a problem for your romantic comedy.
Yeah, even like the two
Lauren Holly's in here as well. Like, sorry.
Yeah, a lot of people just have like, you look at their like IMDb and stuff, like it's not just like tiny little whatever actors. Like they actually got a crew.
I disagree. It has one moment that I think is not supposed to be funny, but I think is one of my favorite movie moments of the year, which is when so Lacey's character, she runs a diner, and so she has to go to the diner from 9 to 5 to work, and she doesn't want Hot Frosty wandering around the town. And so she's like, Hot Frosty, you got to stay home while I'm at the diner. And he's like, okay. And Hot Frosty is very much like, he has that childhood innocence to him.
It's
like
Elf. It's Elf being left alone in the house. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. He's watching a movie with vampires and he's scared of it and all this kind of stuff. So she comes back. And during that montage, he goes down to the basement and he finds like a box of her old stuff, and it has stuff, her husband's medical papers, because her husband died of cancer. And so they're in the kitchen after work, and he's like, and she's like, "What'd you do with your day?" She's like, "Oh, I went downstairs because I was trying to find the vampires." And then there's a beat, and he says, "What's cancer?"
Cancer. I wrote that down in my notes too. It's like, so good.
Boy, we didn't include. You got to put a line in between those two. Like, you got to put some sort of a transition from. That's like the remember the Conan lever with Walker told me I have AIDS with Haley Joel Osment. Like it just reminded me of that, of where it's like everyone's laughing and then there's that line. We're like, how did that happen? How did we get here?
No, and I'd like I guess the other part of it is as we talk about the churn, as we talk about Russell Hanline, who was who's credited as writer as this. What this is just several movies Frankensteined together. Mm-hmm. Obviously there is a ton of Elf to it. There is just an entire Pretty Woman sequence with the song playing.
The song Pretty Woman.
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't know you could do that. I didn't know you could just take the montage from another movie and put it in your movie.
It is as separate as the three tiers.
When you got Netflix money, you can do whatever you want. Like,
you can do whatever you want.
The other scene I found really hilarious was when during the montage when they're like making cookies and stuff, and they make like snowman cookies, and Kathy just like bites the head out of one.
That he looks terrified.
What the fuck was that?
But yeah, speaking of the other movies, there's the Miracle on 34 or It's a Wonderful Life moment where everyone in town pitches in to, financially bail out the character in the moment of need.
Yeah. Literally, it's a, let's all gather our cat. Oh, I've got $10 and I've got $10. It is
like it's the sheriff's son has the final $10 when they're like, you're $10 short. And I'm like,
wait, when I found out that kid was the sheriff's son, I literally said, holy shit. It was like, oh shit, these characters are related.
Ties together.
Well played, movie. Yeah, it's like.
But so, like, I guess, like, that's the thing. As we talk about, like, us being able to write these kind of movies, you don't even need to write these kinds of movies just to take the bits from other movies and rearrange them in new sequences.
Chat GPT.
I'm not saying this was written by Chat GPT. I'm saying that a human cut out lines and sequences from other movies and rearranged them.
I like that you make it sound like a ransom letter, like a Zodiac-esque kind of like letter to the Mr. Policeman. You could have solved it. I gave you all the clues.
That's a Hot Frosty in that movie.
I'm about to say that's a different sort of snowman.
Would you disagree? Like if you saw the script literally like
and it was sellotaped like together. No, I would not be surprised.
I would not be surprised. It is shocking. Like the absolute like, oh, this character is from this movie, so we're just going to take that and put it here. Oh, this sequence is from this movie. We're going to put that over here. It's shocking.
I would believe if someone gave you the script, you would like unfold it and it'd be like a bunch of snowflakes.
It would melt if it gets too hot, you know. Apparently, we've been mispronouncing Chabert. I want to apologize. That's apparently it's Lacey Chabert. That's.
I will say though, there's a good chance I go the rest of my life and never say her name again.
That is true. That is true.
It's always good to learn something, and it's always good to correct mistakes. But there is like a probably a 75% chance I go through the rest of my life without saying that name.
It does feel like we already have Jennifer Love Hewitt at home. Like,
he was on Party 5 too.
I know. Like, it does feel like she was there in case something happened to Jennifer Love Hewitt. Yeah. It's like, don't worry, we got Lacey Chabert.
Jennifer Love Hewitt was very important to me growing up.
Like in the 2000s, she was like she released an album, right?
Yeah.
She
did last summer. I don't know how she did, but she did.
And she's back for like the fourth film in the franchise, which is actually the fourth film in the franchise. They'll tell you it's the third, but it's the fourth. They're doing a legacy sequel to
third film in the franchise.
I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer. It's terrible. Yeah, it doesn't have any of the original cast. It's very strange. It also takes place in like Middle America, despite the villain being a fisherman with a hook. There are a lot of questions I have about that.
Fish in small lakes and rivers around here.
Hey, the Great Lakes.
Yeah, Great Lakes killer.
Yeah.
If the Great Lakes can have an Avenger, they can have a fish-based serial killer.
Right, Jack.
I will say, anecdotally, I talk about my normie friends a lot. All my real life friends are normie friends, and they don't play games. They have kids now, and I try to get. I'm like, have any of you been to the theater this year? And they're like, no. And so I had a text thread with them. I was like pulling teeth trying to get them to watch Shogun earlier this year. It just wasn't happening. But let me tell you, that thread fucking blew up this weekend with Hot Frosty. All the normies were stoked about Hot Frosty.
Yeah, so. I watched something after Yellowstone. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but they did what? The
Landman, right?
But by the way,
like, baby.
And I don't want to be too negative as far as like the arms race and the shock value of the premise, because I do think there is something important to having a good premise to your movie. And so like the elevator pitch of it's the Frosty the Snowman story, but Frosty's hot is like, yes, that is a fine pitch. As if you are a normie, you go, oh yeah, we can watch this. We understand this. And it's just weird enough where we can still feel comfortable with ourselves.
Yeah. 10 out of 10, never going to think about it again.
Never going to think about it again. Like, because
it's not as rare as like Pottersville. That one sticks out to me as like a really weird.
Is that a sequel to It's a Wonderful Life?
I was going to say It's a Wonderful Life. Is that like the mirror universe from It's a Wonderful Life? I have to say, Pottersville always seemed really cool. Whenever I watch It's a Wonderful Life, I'm like, why doesn't he just stay there? It seems quite nice. Sorry.
I showed you the trailer back in like August or whatever when I was at your place. It's that Netflix like Christmas movie with General Zod and like a bunch of like Michael Shannon and a bunch of actors.
Hendricks.
That's the one with like there's like a furry Bigfoot thing in town. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It is Christina Hendricks, isn't it?
Correct.
It's the female lead, but she's like there's a baking or something. There's something involving baking.
Yeah, and they get like, and they think Bigfoot's in town, and they hire like a TV show animal hunter, but it turns out it's like a furry convention or something.
Michael Shannon, Judy Greer, Ron Perlman, Christina Hendricks, Ian McShane.
It is a movie that feels like all the actors lost like a bet at some point and had to do it. It is the like weirdest thing.
Greta Lee is in this. What is this movie?
Can I just like pitch something to you? We talked about like the factory setting kind of formula, generic nature of like Hot Frosty, right?
Yeah.
You put Michael Shannon as the lead in your Christmas movie. Lacey Chabert throws like a kind of a scarf over a snowman and it turns into Michael Shannon. that movie is 10 times more interesting than the movie that we got.
Yes, I'm there for that 100%.
And then there are all sorts of stories about like Michael Shannon having very real difficulties getting the character on set. But
it's Michael Shannon from Take Shelter. He just starts screaming at the town, "There's a storm coming!"
In a little bit of a crossover, so we have Joe Lepore in Hot Frosty, who was also in the state with Thomas Lennon, who is in Pottersville. Putting that out there.
This rabbit hole go.
How deep does this rabbit? Very deep. But I guess like that's to me that is kind of the problem. And we do live in an age with very few character actors, with very few like memorable personalities, like a Michael Shannon or a Ron Perlman, or a Judy Greer for that matter,
or Ian McShane, and we put them all in Pottersville,
right? And so everything seems incredibly milquetoast for Hot Frosty. It is for a movie about fucking a snowman, shockingly sexless, shockingly romanceless.
Yeah, like the movie's third act has him fixing her boiler, and it's not a metaphor. Like he goes down and he works her plumbing, and it's like it's not a metaphor. That's literally what happens in the movie.
Wait, no, right? She was the one fixing the.
Yeah, no, she does. He gets her the little booklet. Yeah,
which
teaches her how to work.
Extremely dangerous. Just hire a professional.
Well, no, this whole thing is like,
your house is gonna fucking blow up.
We just read a book and look online. We can figure out how to do this stuff.
Yeah, my boiler comes with get your boiler service 3 times a year by a professional.
Right. I guess like this is high, it's not our fault. Yeah.
As someone who like one of my absolute all-time favorite Christmas movies is the remake of Miracle on 34th Street. Part of that is because of Dylan McDermott and his, romance with the female lead whose name I cannot remember, so I will not even say it. But you know what? I believed in that relationship. That were steam coming off the film when those two were in a scene together. And here we have very attractive and wonderful people, just Barbie and Ken smacking up against each other. And it's not, there was nothing real about the movie.
I mean, yeah, there's that quote about like, is it the bloody knife, where it's everybody's beautiful and nobody's horny, where it's like you look at like the thing about the modern, again, this is a broader conversation about like the portrayal of male bodies in film, but it's like you look at the Chris Hemsworth body and you could tell people that it is just a smooth bump down between the legs and it would be entirely believable. Like we joked at the start about whether or not this snowman has a penis. I could entirely believe that it is a, to quote Barbie, a smooth mound down there,
So what you're saying is you wanted like Andrew Dominic's like Hot Frosty. Bring that blonde energy to Hot Frosty.
Michael Fassbender. I will say there is a moment in The Agency where like Michael Fassbender is seeing a woman and she leaves, and like the other agents are like, she's out of his league, and I'm like, have you seen Michael Fassbender? Like Jodie Turner-Smith, very beautiful woman. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but it's like 2 sweaty bearded guys in the car going, yeah, she's out of his league. I'm like, okay, just
panning over to the beautiful Michael Fassbender. Yes,
that line was originally in there when William H. Macy was playing that character. So they're like, "Fuck, we didn't rewrite it when we cast Fassbender."
Right, and so like, is it too much? And I understand like a lot of this is audience perception. This is this is a churn script. This is like, I'm sure, shot incredibly short. These are actors who maybe don't have time to prepare. This is Netflix not necessarily caring if there's any sex in their sexy Frosty movie. But is it too much to ask for there to be romance in your romantic comedy movie? I don't think so.
Yeah,
but like, even again, not to make clear, a broader point. Oh, sorry.
A couple people sounded confused. We were joking earlier when we said that there was that 10-minute sex scene. I don't even think there's a kiss in this movie.
No.
This movie's rated like G.5.
There is barely a hug. The romantic leads of this movie at the culmination of their relationship hug. Kind of.
She'd get the suit stain on him. Isn't that the thing? She gets the suit stain on him.
Yes.
Oh yeah, because she was dangerously working
because she was fixing her boiler. I have to say, like, if that man taught me how to fix a boiler or wrote a book that taught me how to fix a boiler, I would double check it before I like took any of it at face value. But like to Jack's point though, like I think there is a broader argument about like it is not just sexlessness, it's romancelessness, where like think of like the big blockbuster movies, like Deadpool and Wolverine this year. There is, as much as fans joke about the whole there is no romantic plot there. The love interest is written out of that incredibly quickly so that it can just focus on guys. Captain America, like people fixate on Captain America and Bucky because there is no romance in those movies. There is no love interest. In the early Iron Man movies, you had the relationship between, Tony and Pepper. But like as that goes on, like she is written out and then she's written back, and then she's just like there's no real emphasis on the chemistry between them. Like I think there is an argument just generally in pop culture about like romance, like sexuality, just going the way of the dodo. And obviously, you have movies like Challengers, which is great, where the sex becomes tennis. But like in mainstream popular American cinema, it really does feel like the Twisters this year, right?
Yeah, I was about to say, perfect example. Yeah,
Glenn Powell, and like they do have sexual chemistry in that, against all odds. But they also cut the scene at the end where they kiss because they're like didn't feel like the vibe. And I'm sitting there going, what the fuck did you think the vibe was? Like,
right? And then like cut back to original Twister.
Yeah.
You got Helen Hunt. You got
it's like, is he going to cheat on his fucking fiance? Is the central dilemma of that movie? And the movie's like, Helen Hunt's pretty fucking hot, and it's like, okay, like, it's like,
sure.
Like, wasn't that also the deal with Aquaman 2, or just Aquaman with Amber Heard, where they're like, oh, they don't have any chemistry, but like she's hot, so let's get her.
I mean, there's just a lot of these modern stars just feel sexless. Like,
like The Rock is a great example.
Like 100%, yeah.
Like The Rock in his movies, you'll frequently note, is often like a divorced dad, which is a way of telling you that he has had sex at some point in the past, but you don't need to think about him having sex as an ongoing concern. It's very strange. Like Gina Carano has played his wife several times. I think like Neve, what's the name from Scream? Neve Campbell? Neve Campbell has played his wife in Skies.
Also Party of Five.
Oh yeah, to bring it all back together. She played his wife in.
We're like Thanos getting the Infinity Stones of those orphan children.
Passive. Yeah, the Party of Five.
Scott Wolf, inevitable.
Scott Wolf is the tough one, I have to admit. That's true. But like these movies, The Rock, The Rock is like, I definitely fucked at some point in the past, some nebulous point that you don't even need to think about. But I can promise you it is not going to happen in this movie. And it's weird that it's like, I wasn't thinking about that, but now I am. Thank you. Like, it's like, I wasn't aware that was on the menu, but I thank you for like making it clear it's not.
I think
the skyscraper one.
Yeah, skyscraper. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like I think it's just some like cultural response of like, oh, people don't want to see a romance. They just want to see, people do their own thing, whether it's male or female, not be like constrained by societal blah blah blah.
You know what? I will and it doesn't need to be. I want to see a romance of any kind. Yeah. Like, give me bros. I'm cool with that. I just want to see people who want to fuck.
And like, but not like ghettoized in like the entire point of the movie is they want to fuck. It's just like part of the human condition is that like we interact with people and we have chemistry, and sometimes that chemistry is like sparks. Sometimes it isn't, and that's okay. But sometimes it is, and it's like it's a weird overcorrection where nothing now feels like sparks. And it's like, I would love to go to Red One and like have the plot of that movie be Chris Evans and The Rock want to fuck each other's brains out. But it's not. Like it's weird. Anyway, sorry.
And that's why Challengers worked so well, because it took like the romance aspect and kind of turned it more into romance for the sport.
The guys. Which
I really dug about. Whereas something like Hot Frosty, like Jack, like you're saying, where the guy acts like a kid the whole time. He's like, "Oh, I love you because you basically created me.
Because you are God.
You're my mom. You're my mom, basically.
Yeah.
Like, this is a wild robot situation, to be honest.
Yeah. Not enough fucking in Wild Robot.
There's just not enough fucking. I guess so obviously like that can all be like rewritten and worked in editing as far as like that goes, but none of it matters because there's no romance in the script, there's no chemistry between the actors, and the movie itself isn't necessarily concerned with any of that romance, because we're hitting the plot points and we're pumping this out, and it has an interesting enough premise where all the normies can go to work on Monday and go, I saw the movie with the sexy snowman and I saw all of his abs.
He has 11 packs.
You could grate cheese on that.
Honest. First of all, that
man needs to hydrate.
Go.
Yeah,
way
no,
to go.
he looks great, but he needs to hide. I do have concerns.
Yeah,
he's like 39 too. I'm like, damn, that guy is.
Wow.
Ooh.
Okay.
No, and I know for those shirtless scenes, a lot of actors have talked about their extreme dehydration that they need to go through to make sure that they are fit for that. And he's moving. He's doing a lot of stuff while looking like that. I'm sure it was very difficult to perform. I'd love like a little video on like the process he took to look that way for that shot, which would be more interesting than Hot Frosty.
That's probably why he was just around the house most of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's it. It's like to me, this is a fascinating. It's a fascinating movie because I do love these types of movies. This is a very interesting example, as it is such a prevalent example of that churn. Content for content's sake.
I do love that we were joking at the start that we would spend the most time on Hot Frosty, but we have, I think, spent as much time on Hot Frosty as we did on Wicked and Gladiator combined.
There you go.
And I think it was a fun discussion. Like, I think we actually talked about it, which is pretty cool. Yeah,
absolutely.
You know what movie I thought had good, realistic depiction of an actual sexual relationship? My Old Ass, which we talked about last week. Did you watch My Old Ass, Darren?
I have not seen it yet. I know Jack keeps recommending it. And it is on my
very good. It's very, very good. But by the way, that is a movie with actual romance, romance and with character actors who have chemistry, a relationship that you are invested in. Holy shit. Yeah. Another reason to love My Old Ass.
I love Your Old Ass. Your Old Ass is wonderful. First of all, thank you. I have 100 reasons to love Your Old Ass. Going over the last couple super chats. Sussy Guru with a €5 dono. Thank you so much. Is Hot Frosty some kind of Elsa Olaf fan fiction?
Do you want to fuck us?
Maybe.
Think about it.
Maybe.
Well, I don't know if they do actually in this movie. I don't know what they want from that relationship. Tommy Salty with 10 Polish
boiler. Like that's to fix a boiler, which is a metaphor for her inability to get over the grief of the loss of her husband, which is weird. But anyway, like it's a weird, as you said, it's a weird thing to go from I was hiding from the vampires, what is cancer? It's also weird that it's like, by the way, you've gotten over your husband's cancer death by virtue of this man-child with hot abs.
But he's hot.
But he's hot.
He's hot.
He's very hot.
He is very hot. Tommy Salty, 10 Polish Swoti. Thank you so much. A snowman is literally a shape of water.
That's very good.
Oh, speaking of creature fucking. Yeah.
Michael Shannon.
Yeah. Isn't that the gesture? It's like.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Speaking of Michael Shannon, especially.
Yeah. And a movie about the importance of washing your hands.
And only your hands.
And only your hands. Yeah. Nick Knoll, thank you so much for the $5 donor. I want to know how the snowman and the guy from Take On Me music video get social security numbers and hold down jobs. How does he get on a plane to go to Hawaii?
At the end of the movie, he gets on a plane. He has no documentation for his existence, but the entire town has figured out he's a snowman come to life and is very cool with it. So we can only assume the American government would also be cool with it.
I bet that the lady writes him off as like her dead husband.
Oh my god, that's exactly what happened.
I love it.
I do want to note that I love the idea of like him just being used as sweatshop labor, where it's just like, no, he doesn't have social security money, so we don't have to pay any tax. Yeah, that's the reason the town is so happy to accept him. Like,
he fixes everyone's lights. He runs the middle school. It's great.
Yeah. And you don't have to pay tax on whatever you pay him. It's just cash in hand.
Beautiful.
Fungus Finder with a $5 dono. Thank you so much. Just saw a truck while shopping with 2 pairs of truck nuts. Can one of you explain this to me? Nope, the super chat was not about movies. Oops.
Truck nuts are those things that dangle off the like crowbar at the back of the bar at the back of the thing.
I like a thing that is exactly what it's.
There we go. Yeah.
Even if you don't know what it is, it's just exactly what it is. Yeah.
Why would you have 2 of them? Like, how does that work space wise? That you've got like 4.
You only have one ball.
No, but you've got 4. He said it like he's got 2 pairs, isn't it?
Were
so it's like 4.
Were they front and back, or were they on each side? I guess is my.
Oh, was it like one of those little office toys where like just one of them swings and the other one just kind of bounces out?
There has to be those things that look like little testes going back.
Absolutely.
Oh god,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I like it. Humane Shield, thank you so much for a $2 dono. Opinions on the new Naked Gun movies chances. So, randomly, I've just been watching a bunch of Zucker Bros movies. Both Hot Shots, Naked Gun, Airplane. I'm going to tell you.
A Christmas Carol,
Yeah.
a conservative Christmas Carol.
Top Secret. I watched that earlier this month. Great film.
Beautiful.
Truly Wisconsin gems. I'm a little worried about this one. It's Liam Neeson as the Leslie Nielsen role, which is just weird that two guys with very similar names are playing.
I do think I like Liam Neeson as it because I feel like it's kind of the same theoretically concept as Leslie Nielsen. You get like a guy who's mostly known for just great like action movies and stuff, and getting him in like a weird comedy, which is kind of what happened with Leslie Nielsen's career. So I'm skeptical about it.
What I would say is, I would say that like Liam Neeson's scene in Ted 2 is the funniest scene in that movie, where he's buying Lucky Charms and he's like, "You are aware that I'm an adult?" Yes. And it does say that Lucky Charms are for kids. Yes. So you're saying I'll buy this and I won't be bothered. But like it's just having the straight man deliver that stuff in the style of Taken works really well. It is also from the Lonely Island guys as well. Like it's Jorma Taccone and
they make good movies.
Yeah, there was like was it Funny or Die with like Liam Neeson on it, where he's trying to get his producer to cast him in a comedy, and is like, you can't do a comedy. It's like, I can do a comedy.
No, that was
that's Ricky Gervais.
That was extras, Ricky Gervais. Oh no,
Okay.
yeah, that's right. Life is Short with Warwick Davis. Sorry, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm very funny.
And we knock on the door. It's like, come in. Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Conan O'Brien AIDS wheel, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, you have full blown AIDS.
Yeah, I definitely like my concern is, a lot of those movies were joke a minute, like we crammed so many jokes into this movie that it actually like structurally is not a very good movie, but you will rewatch it 100 times to catch every joke, and every joke is brilliant.
How many it is crazy how relentless they are with the jokes, and you're like, listen, even if 5 of them don't work on you, the sixth one will, and it's only been a minute.
And it's only been a minute. And so I am concerned. I think, Lonely Island guys, incredibly funny. I've enjoyed all of their stuff in general. I worry about them hitting the same rhythm that makes me love those movies. But
I am also worried that whatever athlete they cast will go on to murder 2 people.
And isn't it Pamela Anderson? Isn't that like the other person in the movie is Pamela Anderson?
No. Oh, is she gonna murder?
National treasure Pamela Anderson, the star of The Last Showgirl.
Star of Night Baywatch.
Baywatch Nights.
She is not.
Marty, don't you know the canon? No, she was also
minutes ago. I can't remember.
We were talking about Baywatch Nights before we started the podcast, by the way.
Because we talk about important things on the show. Important topical things.
Exactly. Lastimo says, thank you so much for the donut. Will Hot Frosty versus Mannequin be a good crossover?
Which, by the way, that was the other...
By the way, do they have to fight?
That was the other...
Fight or fuck.
The other thing, like, what is it? Kylie, was it that Kylie Minogue?
Minogue?
No, that was what's her name?
That was Kim Cattrall.
Sex in the City. Yeah, Kim Cattrall.
Kylie Minogue was in Mannequin 2, I think. Was the mannequin in Mannequin 2.
The musician, Kylie Minogue?
Yeah.
The financier?
I believe. I
star
don't
of
know.
Street Fighter and that Doctor Who Christmas special.
Star of the wonderful Doctor Who
and
Christmas
the Pauly Shore movie Biodome. Don't besmirch the name of Kylie Minogue.
Oh, Biodome.
Biodome.
I'm all here for Biodome.
Okay, but like the other like incredible failing of Hot Frosty is it was a wonderful opportunity to like make some sort of commentary on these like Born Sexy Yesterday movies of the 90s and 80s, where it's like, if you think about like My Stepmom's an Alien or Splash or Mannequin, of just like, hot ladies who fall in love with the first schmuck that they come across. This was like ripe for a beautiful commentary that could have added to the commentary, but they didn't. It was Abs Man is women drool over Abs Man, and so it was the same kind of sexism.
So you're saying it was an absolute disappointment.
Abstract art. Sir George Lucas with €2. Thank you so much. Rank the Lost seasons. 1 is the best, and then 3, 4, 5, 2, and 6.
Whoa!
You can't rank my children. They're all my children. 4 is the worst.
Oh, interesting. Is it for the abridged one?
Yeah. They didn't know what it was. Writer strike.
I remember having because that ends with like the big reveal, which is that the flashbacks were not flashbacks at all.
Season 3 ends with that reveal.
Ah, okay.
Or has the constant though, which is arguably the best episode.
Yeah.
Lost.
Not Peggy's boat, right?
Yeah, not Penny's boat. Peggy.
No. From Mad
I'm
Men.
offended that
It's
you
a
called
crossover.
Peggy.
Like, yeah.
Peggy Bundy.
It was on ABC, right?
It was yeah. There you go. No, season 1, especially the pilot's just perfect. Perfect pilot.
That's perfect. Season 1's great. Season 2's great. I don't know why season 2 is so late in your list. Season 2's great.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Wonderful show.
Season 2 is The Bunker.
It is The Bunker. Fucking Desmond.
Well, Desmond. It introduces Desmond. Yeah, and like has like
hatched. They got to hit the button.
See, the great intro with the make your own kind of music, right? And that's the opening scene of that.
You put season 2 as the second worst, and like that had the greatest running tension of most of television, which is, do we stop hitting the button? That was gorgeous television, and you have it as second worst? Fuck off!
Wow, this is the worst George Lucas has felt since probably 2005, 2002, 2009.
Sir George Lucas. We are all entitled to our own opinions. So that is not me yelling at you. That was
Mr.
me.
Echo was season 2, right? Because I remember having like a character they had no idea what to do with, but I thought was absolutely fascinating.
Yeah.
Introduce a bunch of tail section members of the plane
and then kill them off swiftly. aside from Sam Anderson, isn't it? Aside from
Who's
Bernard.
Great. Oh my God, he's great. Every time he shows up in something, I'm like, it's Bernard. Yeah, I'm excited. And then Sovereign with €5. Thank you so much. Have any of you seen the Charlie Booker cop comedy, A Touch of Cloth? Forget a joke per minute. It was a joke per second, so it can still be done. No, I have Charlie Booker. That's what's this? Black Mirror?
No, but it is. I think that's Charlie Brooker is the one you're thinking of.
Charlie Brooker.
Charlie Brooker. Is it with an or? As in like
literally just. I'm just
okay. But A Touch of Cloth is John Hannah. And it is basically a spoof of like the British procedurals, like A Touch of Frost, for example. And it is like, again, it is that joke a minute thing where it keeps hammering them, and like 5 of them will miss and 1 of them will hit, and it's like, well, I've laughed once every minute or minute and a half, so I guess this was pretty fun. And it is like John Hannah, who most Americans will know as the comic relief in the Mummy films, so it's pretty good.
Oh yeah,
like yeah.
Wait, so these are the same person? This is Charlie Brooker who did
Black Mirror. Okay, cool.
Okay, I just thought I was going insane. No, I want to see this. I like Black Mirror.
Though you do say it can still be done. This was released over 10 years ago. This was released in 2012. So
yeah, and it was like an exception to the thing, and it was, I believe, it was Sky, wasn't it? It was like not even like BBC or ITV.
Sky
it was
One,
like it was basically like a cable operator in the UK who did it. You know,
but you know what? I have a tab open, so it looks fun. Yeah,
you got tabbed.
I had a good time. I had a good time with it.
You got tabbed.
How about a little To Be Fair?
Yeah, I was about to say we want to get Jack out of here because Jack's gonna be streaming again in an hour.
Oh, sorry.
Everyone gets one recommendation for this last segment. Jack says To Be Fair. The rest of us don't have to choose a To Be thing, but just a reco for people to watch. Jack,
here's my To Be Fair Thanksgiving recommendation. This is a special family time movie recommendation. If you want to kind of like really celebrate maybe some family members that you don't necessarily get along with that well, you can watch Knives Out on Tubi right now.
Ooh.
Tubi is absolutely a Thanksgiving like coded movie.
That movie screams Thanksgiving. It's obviously a fantastic movie that you can watch for free on Tubi without signing up or anything, because Tubi is a wonderful streaming service.
No free ads. However, we will give you a free ad until you start paying us for ads, Tubi.
Exactly.
Yes. Because you're great.
No ads.
Knives Out is wonderful.
That's my To Be Fair.
What did you think of Glass Onion?
I never saw it.
Has to come to Tubi. Like
not as cozy as Knives Out. Not as cozy.
No, I didn't get around to it. Yeah,
nastier, like much less pleasant. It is very much the work of somebody who has lived through the Trump era and somebody who has thoughts about Elon. Like it really is.
Norton
Elon
pretty
Musk
much plays Elon Musk. Which I don't know if I want to watch something about Elon Musk.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like Wake Up Dead Man is the next one that they're filming with Josh O'Connor as a hot priest.
Yeah. Josh Brolin, all the Joshes.
Put those knives back.
Yeah. Put those knives back. Darren. You got to
Say Nothing, the FX show, which is on Hulu. It's great. It's a wonderful look at the Northern Irish Troubles. So check that out if you want. It's really, really, really good. Adaptation of a true life account of Irish history. And if you have not seen it, the absurdity of this is just incredible. Every episode ends with the legal disclaimer that Jerry Adams, who is the leader of Sinn Féin and a character in this drama, you know what this is, Jack. Jerry Adams has consistently disavowed any membership or participation in the activities of the Irish Republican Army after 45 minutes of watching Jerry Adams lead and organize the Irish Republican Army. It's one of the great bits. But yeah, but no, seriously, Say Nothing is great. I really, really love Say Nothing.
Yeah, you wrote a great piece about it over the weekend, and that's at the top of my queue. Jesse.
Really less suggestion, but first off, shout outs to Godzilla's 70th anniversary this month.
HBD.
Ooh,
Big
HBD.
year. Also, I recently picked up a bunch of these Indicator boutique Blueys. Has like the Sinbad movies and a lot of like Ray Harryhausen stuff.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like Kazam.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry. Jingle all the way
to Earth. Yeah. But just like they're so pretty looking.
Yeah,
so
those are great covers.
Yeah. Fans, but I mainly just got for Night of the Demon. So if I recommended one movie, Night of the Demon by what's his face?
By Sinbad.
Old what's his nuts?
Sinbad. Yeah, but good like kind of spooky horror movie from the 58.
Oh. I'm thinking of a different. There was a Night of the Demons from the 90s.
Yeah, this is Night of the Demon.
Yeah, where it has a line where a character enters a party, like a house party, and exclaims, "Eat a bowl of fuck." That's what he says. He like enters. It's like, he kicks down the door and he's like, "All right, everyone, eat a bowl of fuck." And I'm like,
Marty, what happened is the guy who directed that walked into a room. He wrote House of Demon on a whiteboard, and then he drew a $sign at the end.
Big Jim, don't lose.
It's also referred to as Curse of the Demon. Some releases. It's directed by Jacques Tourneur.
Oh, all right.
You know.
Vive le Jacques.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And then for my reco, speaking of the French, A Man on the Inside, the new Netflix series from Mike Schur, who we mentioned Brooklyn Nine-Nine earlier, created Parks and Rec and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Good Place. He has a new sitcom. It's all out on Netflix right now, all 8 episodes. It is based on a French documentary from a few years ago called The Mole Agent, which was about a retired widower, a guy who takes up a newspaper ad to go sort of infiltrate an elderly folks' home because one of the patients says that someone stole a brooch of theirs. And so he's like, the investigator's like, "We want you to get in here, pretend you're just living here, but then figure out what's going on." But then he befriends everyone because he's a very sweet man, and everything sort of unravels from there. The Netflix version moves it to San Francisco and is starring Ted Danson and Stephanie Beatriz and Mary Elizabeth Ellis, who you'll know from everything. I've watched 3 episodes of it. I just think it's really fucking delightful.
Beautiful.
It's really charming. Like it will break your heart. It is so sweet and sincere. The way that like Mike Schur TV shows are, where like it is funny in places. It is maybe like not a laugh a minute. It is not a Zucker Brothers movie, but like you find yourself really caring for these characters at the end or even in the middle of it, where like it is so sincere. It is nice people being nice to each other, trying to be as nice as they can in a broken world, and it's like this is a balm on my soul. I had a really good time with it as well.
Yeah.
Oh. And literally, like, the more Ted Danson we can get in anything, like, let's just applaud that.
Well, he is like Schur's guy, because obviously with The Good Place and Mr. Mayor, where he stepped into the role that was meant for Alec Baldwin, and obviously this as well.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, really, really enjoying it. So that's great.
Shout out. Who else? It's Stephen McKinley Henderson is in the cast, and he's amazing as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. From from Civil War and
like Lady Bird and like Dune Part 1, but not Dune Part 2.
He's Computer Man.
Yes.
He's one of those Dune computer men who's like, "Brr."
Yeah, I meant that. He's the they didn't understand it guy from Lady Bird as well, like, which is one of the great line deliveries in cinema. And he's just like, again, he's a guy when you put him on screen, I'm immediately like, I love this guy so much. It's like, you better not hurt him. Like, it's like, it doesn't matter who he's playing. I'm always like, protect that sweet old man. He could be firing a machine gun into a crowd, and I'd be like, that sweet old man.
He could have played the Jesse Plemons role in Civil War, and I would have been like, that sweet old man. He just wanted a burn pit for the bodies.
It's a very valid question. What kind of American are you? I think you have to answer that. Like,
he should have been in Pottersville.
Oh yes,
he would have been great in Pottersville. Not knowing what Pottersville's about. I assume it's like a Harry Potter
Who
thing.
should have been the snowman in Hot Frosty, to be fair as well.
That's a hot.
Now we're
Frosty right
talking. Now we're talking.
there. That does it for us this week
Yes.
on the Rewind. I'm so proud of us. Jack,
Yeah.
you're going to be back in an hour with Jess Hoops playing more Liza P.
Correct. Because Thursday is Thanksgiving here in America, Jess and I will not be streaming our playthrough of my playthrough of Lies of P. We're going to move that to tonight, or in an hour, because why not? So come back in an hour for Lies of P. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo.
Was that DuckTales?
That was the song "Friends of P" by the Rentals.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Jesse, you've had a very big week. You got a big old video on Monday, big old video on Tuesday.
Yeah, Battle Masters and the backdrop in the same week.
That's right.
Two big
Spoil
B's.
you.
How
Spoil
do you
you.
do this? Like, I'm always like, you're like, I got this at like 8 a.m. and then by like 6 p.m. you're like, and here it is, it's done. I have no idea how you do it.
I only know editing and breathing.
You turn into the computer man from Dune.
Yeah,
Your eyes roll back. You're like,
Let me calculate how long that will take.
but yeah, this week's Battle Masters on the Skyrim Bucket Challenge is my favorite so far. I think it's absolutely amazing that you wrangled 10 hours of footage, however many of us times an hour, and made it into such a fun, cohesive video. So that series is wonderful. I hope everyone checks it out. And then obviously, Darren, he mentioned the backdrop, which went up today.
Yeah, we did, which myself and Jesse did, which was, I think it's a good one. It's talking about Star Wars, which is something you shouldn't do on the internet, but just looking at like the 5 stages of grief that you work through when you hear an announcement of a new Star Wars movie and you work your way towards the end of like accepting that realization.
Absolutely.
And it's arguably any franchise as well. And I think it's a good video, but I think the editing is phenomenal. I think it's one of those things where you look at it and it just comes together beautifully. So thank you very much, Jesse.
I think a lot of it comes to your right. I was looking at the audio. I'm like, oh, this is good. This is good shit.
It's
Like,
just the waves go up and down like they're meant to. It looks good.
You are so eloquent in your disses. I love it.
Yeah.
I think you described as Darren aggressive, like, which makes it sound like makes me sound super bitchy. It's like it's
Very aggressive.
really Darren aggressive.
Passive-aggressive.
Yeah,
Irish
that-
aggressive.
That should be a
face.
T-shirt. That should be a T-shirt.
Darren aggressive.
Darren. Yeah, it's like so I was like, was I mean to Uncle Ron in this? And you're like, you got a bit Darren aggressive, and I was like, oh, okay. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Uncle Ron. Wonderful. And thank you all so much, everyone who watched on YouTube, everyone who's listening on your podcast service of choice. We appreciate y'all. So for Darren, Jack, Jesse, and Eric, this was Marty. This was the Rewind episode number 10. Once again, we will see you all in about an hour. Jack will be back with Jess playing Liza P. Otherwise, if we don't see you over the holiday week, have a great holiday for those who celebrate. And if not, just have a great rest of the week. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Love the chicken soup.
I know. I was trying to mess.
It's meant to be a turkey. Is it meant to?
I think it's a turkey.
I think it's a turkey.
Okay.
That's the Thanksgiving bird, right?
That's a Thanksgiving.
You Americans. That's
Yeah. You Americans are your weird birds. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. All right. Cheers.
My kids don't eat Thanksgiving food, so we.